It is 18 minutes past the hour here on Sunday on Morning Drive. The Latin America Amateur Championship may be young in age, but it's rich in opportunity. This joint initiative with the Masters Tournament, USGA, and the RNA to help grow the game in Latin America. It's a stroke play competition of the 72 holes. You got 27 different countries and territories from the Latin America region that are represented, and the winner receives an invitation to the 2018 Masters and exemptions into the 2018 British Amateur and U.S. Amateur Championships. So these young players, and maybe not so young players, there is so much on the line. So let's look at some of the highlights. Mark Montenegro putting for birdie on the par 5 9th.
And you can see what a smooth stroke. You've got to understand these players must be feeling so many nerves, knowing the extent of what's up for grabs.
Sure, that got him to 3 under par into a tie for the lead. Here he is again putting for birdie on the 11th, Robert.
Well, we've seen some putts go in on our highlights this morning, haven't we? They're making everything.
That got him to 5. He actually got it to 6, but would bogey 3 of his last 4 holes. Now, Toto Gana, who is from Chile, and certainly somebody that a lot of people are following this week here on the 8th.
Yeah, and this golf course looks like it's incredible condition, getting them ready for some big and major events coming up.
And this putt, if you hear those words, you can tell who a lot of people are rooting for. And you can see Toto Gana, Mark Montenegro, and Pablo Torres are all tied at 3 under par. They're a shot clear of a quartet of players. And again, we've got 54 holes left to be played. And with that, why don't we head to Chile now? Say good morning to our Todd Lewis. And Todd, let's start with Toto Gana, because you're out there. You can see the support he's getting. But his experience that he had last year compared to what's going on now, what is different?
Well, I wasn't here last year for the Latin America Amateur Championship. I can only speak to what I've seen from Toto Gana here this year, and that is that he is walking around, be it a practice round or playing in the opening round yesterday, like he has an air about him of confidence that he feels as if he is at least going to be in contention on the final day, on the final round here in this championship. And yesterday, after posting his 3 under round, I had a chance to visit with him, and I asked him, what is the sense of comfortability he has now compared to where he was last year at this championship?
It was a little bit different, the feeling. It was like no nervous, but I don't know how to describe that, but it was a good feeling.
I'm very impressed with the way he is able to strategically work himself around this golf course. Again, this is not a very long golf course at under 6,900 yards, a par 71, but placement off the tee is the biggest key, and he is a very cerebral player, very much in control of his golf ball, and I actually believe what he believes, that he will be in the mix come the final round here of this championship, Gary.
All right, Todd, let's turn our attention to somebody who, if people were unfamiliar with, you gave them a very good understanding of how good Joaquin Niemann is. What transpired yesterday, although it looks like he has gotten off to a good start today, but what happened to him yesterday in the opening round?
Well, there were a couple of things. One, external and internal pressure. Being the #1 ranked amateur player in the world, there are expectations that he has for himself. There are expectations that others have for him, especially playing in his hometown of Santiago, Chile. As a matter of fact, he had the largest crowd or gallery, more than anyone else in the field here yesterday, and I think some nerves were a big issue for him. Another thing that he talked about after his round yesterday was the fact that this golf course, because he's primarily played practice rounds in the morning, had a lot of fire. The ball was running out. He couldn't quite get the numbers on his yardages, so that was a big issue for him. He did say that he was going to come out and be a little more aggressive this morning. It is obviously working for him. He is 4 under at the turn, so he is suddenly right back in the mix of this championship, and he's got tremendous talent, or he wouldn't be #1 in the world. So this round right here, if indeed he puts himself in the mix to win, we'll look back on this second round that this was where the turnaround happened for him coming off that opening round. He seems very comfortable right now, so a nice bounce back effort so far at round 2.
All right, finally for now, we focus on a lot of these young players in the field, but how about some guys who maybe have been shaving for more than a year or two? Some stories of some older players.
Yeah, let's talk about guys in our demographic, Gary. One of them has been in this championship. This is his 4th year. He's played at every one of the Latin American Amateur Championship, and he's made the cut in all of the previous appearances as well. And I'm talking about Geronimo Esteve of Puerto Rico. He's 36 years of age. He and his family are from Puerto Rico, but he actually lives in Orlando. He and his family own 3 car dealerships that he runs. He's also a driving instructor. He loves racing, and I mentioned how good a golfer he is. He's been a part of 6 USGA championships. And here's the biggest key. He's been able to do all of these things while beating cancer. He was diagnosed with lymphoma back in 2011. He went to MD Anderson in Houston. He was able to survive that, beat that, which obviously shifts your perspective when you beat something like cancer. He's coming out here, understanding his game and having a great time again in this championship, playing against the young guns. And the most interesting guy that I've met here so far that's in the field is Sean Morris of Jamaica. He's incredibly smart. He has a chemistry degree and a physics degree. He's a physicist by trade. He taught himself how to play the game of golf at the age of 30, and he deals with swing arcs and finding the right path to better fit his swing. He's kind of like the 50-year-old version of Bryson DeChambeau. He didn't have the best day in his opening round, but he loves the game, a tremendous passion for the game of golf. He's played quite a few amateur championships. But those kind of guys kind of get lost in the mix amongst the great young college players that we see in this championship, but those are the guys that are really here for the love of the game.
Great stories, Todd. We'll talk to you again next hour. That is Todd Lewis in Santiago, Chile. When we continue here on this Sunday on Morning Drive, well, this one was pretty good. 1972, Jack Nicklaus, and right about then, he felt like he needed to make an adjustment in the middle of his swing, trying to win the U.S. Open. What's the greatest thing he ever did in the game of golf? It may not be 18. We discuss. Happy birthday, Jack.